Hello. I just wanted to do this quick live stream if it doesn't necessarily have to be a discussion, but I've been hearing so much discussion about single women, single mothers. I've been hearing conversations about single mothers from men who are just super opposed to dating single women. Now, here's the thing. I have a son right now, right? And I think about, as a mother and watching my son grow up and thinking about all the things that, I want him to do and establish for himself. I can honestly say that I would not want my son to marry a woman or be involved with a woman with children. And I know that sounds kind of contradictory because I'm considered a single mom with children. Um, but I think that when we talk about single moms, I'm dating right now, and it's a pretty good relationship for a year and a half now, almost. And I'm not really, like, I guess for me, I'm pretty confident in the direction of the relationship just because of the interest that the individual took in with my kids. I'm one of those people that I don't force a man to acknowledge my children. I just put my children on the table. Like, I'm a package deal woman. You know, a lot of women, they don't really, talk. I know women that don't bring the kids into the equation, and it sounds bizarre, but they don't talk about their kids until they get some level of buy-in from the dude. Um, and then there's some women like me, we just put it on the table. I have kids, I have a career. And I think that, when people talk about single women, they kind of, talk about them as if they're like this scarlet letter type woman. I hear a lot of men say, no single man is going to want to raise another man's kid. And it's like, okay, that might be true for you. But if that is not true for a lot of men out there that, number one, can't have children. Number two, recognize that they've wasted a considerable amount of time. And now, the women that they would feel like would be equitable enough for them to have children, they're not available anymore. And so there's so many different reasons. Excuse me, and I just woke up. But there's so many different reasons, though, why a single man, would choose to date a single woman. And it really just boils down to that man, where he is at in life and what he ultimately wants in life, right? But, there's a lot of reasons in my mind that a man would want to date a single woman, especially a single woman that is an equitable woman, meaning that she brings value to a partnership. And, a lot of people will think, well, if she has kids, there's not really a lot of value that she can bring to a partnership. And I challenge that, because if you're a single mother like me that recognize that, number one, the maintenance of our children isn't just contingent upon me collecting child support from their father. I'm actually going to still be a collaborative partner, pursue my career goals, take care of our kids. If dad drops off the planet tomorrow, I know that my kids are going to be sustainable. I think that, depending on the mindset of the single woman, would definitely, to me, merit exploration of entertaining her as a dating prospect. If you run into the right single mom, she's going to be a good household manager, right? She can do multiple things. She's used to working and taking care of her kid, and the only thing that she's typically missing is leadership. Now, the problem with a lot of single mothers that do it for a long time is they're not willing to relinquish that leadership. They're not willing to allow a man to come in and actually play a man's role. And I think that's where a lot of men get a little turned off by the single mother, is because, if she's driven, she doing her own thing, and it's kind of like, okay, well, then what am I here for? Just, to keep you company, And so I think a lot of single moms have to understand that there's a balance to inviting a man into your mix and allowing and understanding that when you're inviting a man into you and your kids' world, you're really sort of opening your world up to a new leadership. And I get bashed quite a bit from dudes like, you're a feminist, you hate, you're a man hater. And it's like, no, I'm not a man hater. I'm a stupid man hater. I'm a crybaby man hater. I like sensible, reasonable men. And I think that a lot of men are poor leaders, and they're not the leaders that they want the respect to be. And they're mostly the ones on the microphone because they have failed at getting the respect from their women, and now they're scorned. My idea of a leader is, if I'm talking about dating within my own race, I want a black man like Thomas Sowell. I want a black man like Walter Williams or Shelby Seals, and I will not settle for less, because these are reasonable black men. These are men that you don't mind being under their leaderships. A lot of these black men today, I'm sorry, you want the power and glory of being a leader, but you don't have the mindset to be one. And I just don't imagine, when I hear Walter Williams talk about, when I heard him do interviews talking about the wife, he had just as much reverence for his wife, as he did with his accomplishments in itself. These men talking about their women like they're dogs, they're objects, they're trash. I don't subscribe to that. You can definitely be an inspiration to the community, enlighten people on the best relationship, management, but I don't think you need to go around bashing people either. Single mom. So we have to be realistic though, that, as a package deal, we have to be able to add value. And, becoming a single mom, let me tell you something. When you make that transition from whatever type of relationship you were in, you got to get back into the groove, right? So a lot of single moms come with a lot of hangups that they need to be able to get over, right? And so that's what I kind of want to talk about here. Got a couple of notes here. Just want to talk about. So, you're getting back into the groove. It can be scary, right? It can be very scary to sort of get back into that dating groove, because now you're hanging, with the insecurity that, now I have to find a man that accepts the fact that I have a child, right? So, you have to build your confidence back again. You have to recognize those things good about you that makes you valuable, and you need to own those, and you need to own them with confidence. And then another thing is getting over any abuse or disrespect that you had. And this can be tough if you're co-parenting with that same person. Keep it drama free. I think the reason why my dude is all good, like, I think the reason why he absolutely was admirable to me is because I don't make it hard for my kids' dad to have a relationship with them. And his dad did that to his mother, and he hated her for that. And I think that, a lot of men out here, and he doesn't have any kids. But I think that his admiration for me came with the fact that, he met my kid's dad. They didn't have any issues at all. It's one of those things where he likes the fact that we're co-parenting and that we work together for our kids. And I think that a lot of men can appreciate that about a single mother. But a lot of single women, they demonstrate that they are still scorned, that they are still, feeling, this unresolved issue from that previous relationship. And a lot of these women are making it absolutely hard for the men to be involved with their children's life. And that turns men off. That really turns other men off, because, you never know what man you're dealing with that had dealt with a mother that did that to them, where their father couldn't be a part of their lives because their mom was scorned. And so when you're trying to date and you have that type of relationship with your kid's father, other men recognize that, and they don't want to be a part of that drama, that baby daddy drama mess. A lot of men don't want that. And a lot of women come with that, and I think that men are more susceptible to date a single woman when she is not talking about her kid's father disrespectfully. And I think that's something that people should consider and think about too. Some of the behaviors of single moms keep them out of the dating ring. And and like I said before, it's not just the behaviors. Sometimes it's the mindset and the I still have options. And I'm not saying that single women should not be selective. But I definitely would challenge the options that we feel like we may have in the dating space. Because again, I agree, there are a lot of men that we may want that may not want us because of the baggage that we come with, right? And that's fine, because again, there's still somebody out there for everyone, right? You got the Brady Bunch scenario, is what I call it, where you align yourself with another single dad. Now, a lot of women, it's so funny. I know a lot of single moms, and I used to be like this too, where it's like, yeah, I'm a single mom, but I don't want to date a dude with kids. It's like a contradiction, I know, but a lot of single moms don't want to raise, or they don't want to be with men with kids. And I think it's that perception of baby mama drama. I mean, I think a lot of people, for the most part, will say that they want to keep their life drama free. And I think that when people think of single parents, they think of drama. But as much as you can keep a dating prospect, with the peace of mind that your dynamic with your kid's dad does not come with drama, I think it'll make it easier for the relationship to blossom. There's a lot of what I call uncle daddies. There's a lot of uncle daddy single men out there where they've had nieces and nephews and they've been the favorite uncle forever. They just haven't found that right one to settle down with. Then they get older and then they start hanging out with maybe one of their friends' kids, like, my friend. And, next thing you know, this dude is coming around her and her kids like all the time because, he recognizes that she's a single mom and the dad's not around at all. And he has a son that is just wild, like my son, right? Like, and that's why I need a backwater dude. I need a adventurous dude for my son because my son is a typical dude. So I have to line my son with the type of dude that will give him the male experience that he might be looking for. So, that's pretty much what I do. But, again, women have to be able to align themselves with, especially if you have a son, with a guy that's interested in it without you forcing the issue in being a part of your son's life for whatever important reason that he thinks he should be there, right? Because I know I used to be very, very protective of my son. I didn't want him to hurt himself. Oh, I'm not even showing my things. I'm sorry. I didn't want my son to hurt himself. And, I was not allowing him to develop his risk adversity. And my dude had a big problem with that. Now, as that being my son, I'm like, I don't want my son to do anything dangerous, but, as a man that is being open to being in me and my son's life, I have to understand that he has a mindset about being a young man and being adventurous and developing risk adversity by basically hurting yourself. So, I used to be that mom, that used to tell my dude, like, don't do that with him. He'll hurt himself. And I had to learn how to step back. So as a single mom, when you do have a man in your life and that man is trying to be a man to your child, you need to step back. And a lot of men have seen single women not be able to do that. And that's why it's such a turnoff. I think that single women are a commodity. Like I said, if you're looking for a good partner, that's corporation A right there, because for the most part, if you got a woman that's a career professional taking care of her kids, I've worked in several sectors that have made me money, that have been able to sustain my kids without a man. But I'm fortunate because I co-parent with my kid's dad. And that's really important. You know what I mean? But if you're a career driven woman, you're an equitable woman. We talk about the high value men. You know, the equitable woman brings value to the table. She is a woman that a man can see himself aligning with economically as much as he sees himself aligning with her emotionally, right? And so an equitable woman is drama free. An equitable single mother is drama free, meaning that she has a good co-parenting relationship with her kid's dad, and or if he's not in the picture, she's holding it down for the kids without any issues. You know, these are the types of women that I feel like are commodity single men, single mothers that are have a commodity to them, that are commodities, I will say. And I think that men should explore these women and not shut them out, especially if you a man that like I said, like if you're a single man with no kids and you're over a certain age, you know, like 40, and you think that now you're ready to settle down and have kids, you might want to think about single mothers, because we don't even know if everything is working properly. Some of these guys like to go out and, you know, a lot of these men are single because they want to be out there in these streets sowing their oats, sowing their royal oats, right? And time passes by and now they're ready to settle down. And some of them are terrible in bed. I emphasize that because women leave men because of their terrible sex game. I'm gonna commit a whole video to that, because it's not emasculating men, but it's like some of these men are so disrespectful out here in these streets, and you can't even rock your woman's world. So now she just got to sit back with your weak sex game and your rude ass. It's like, ugh. I'm not a man hater. I believe that men should be good leaders. And I'm tired of these men who are terrible leaders on a microphone talking about women. It's like, I get that stuff. But anyways, being an equitable woman, like I said, is bringing value to the table, right? Being an equitable woman is understanding, you know, where your place is after you have found a man that can be an equitable leader or a amicable leader. And part of that is relinquishing the, you know, understanding that, you know, if you want this person in your life, that means that you have to be able to relinquish some of your parenting instruction, especially when it comes to young men. You know, if you're a single mother with a son, the last thing you would want to do is invite a man into you and your son's life and usurp his headship to be able to teach that boy how to be a man. Because, like I said, women can only raise good guys, they can't raise men. And that is a matter of fact. So no matter how many single men out there that don't want to date single mothers that happen to be raising boys, there still needs to be some man out there that is willing to step up and guide that boy into being a man. You don't have to take over the financial burden of it, but I think that there should be more men out there helping single women raise men. Because women can only raise good guys. They can't raise men. And I'm practical of that. That's why my son's dad is in his life. Matter of fact, he taught him how to pee recently, and he's just having way too much fun on that potty these days. Like, he went from not wanting to use the potty, and I'm like, look, he's starting preschool soon, right? What is an equitable woman? An equitable woman, well, what is equity, right? It's value, right? I think that when you think about an equitable woman, you're talking about, let's talk about like today's modern American household, right? You know, let's take all the high value rich shit out of the equation. Let's just boil this down to normal ass people, right? People that make normal salaries, right? To me, an equitable woman is a woman that's willing to work, right? She's not looking for a man to take care of her. She has skills and capabilities that makes her marketable and desirable to the marketplace, right? So same concept with the high value man, but she has skills, capabilities, right? An equitable woman is a reasonable woman, right? So a reasonable woman can identify a man that can be her leader and respect it, right? That's a reasonable woman. Reasonable women have no problem respecting the leadership of reasonable men who are worthy leaders. Equitable women don't have any problem doing that. They don't have any problem partnering with men and merging their value with theirs and making something happen, right? And equitable women, like I said, they're drama free. They are drama free. They're not bringing drama into the household. They have an emotional balance and intelligence about them. They understand when they need to turn themselves on and off, when they need to step in and talk to their man, because I feel like, equitable women are good confidants for men. You know what I mean? I don't believe that a woman stands behind her man. Of course, when the burglar comes, the woman may be behind her man, but you may have a woman that's right beside you, ready to go to war with the dude because you her man and she ain't about to have you go out like that. I mean, there's just women that have a warrior mindset and they are right hands to their men. And I find these women to be more equitable than the women that these men want to just be behind them, right? Because some of you, like I said, some of these men aren't lions. Of course, I think a man should lead in a relationship. I never said that men should not lead in relationships. Nowhere in my video are you going to see anything where I said men should not lead in relationships. My videos about beta men is because a lot of these men, and this is just based off of reading commentary, a lot of these beta boy men are poor leaders. They're not worthy leaders. They want to sit there and disrespect women. They want a woman to revere them, and they have not earned any of that. A woman that I personally believe that a woman that can respect her man's leadership will never go to war with him over words. There wouldn't be any reason for that. You know what I mean? I think about a good leader as a person that a woman can brag about. My man got this. My man takes care of this. My man secures me. You know what I mean? Like these men are talking about you women are so hard and blah blah blah. But I mean, I'm sorry, when you're in a relationship with a man that is disrespecting you blatantly, how soft would you expect for your woman to be? You're destroying her. I mean, there's nowhere in the book of men being leaders where it says destroy your woman's character, destroy your woman's dignity. Nowhere in the book of a man being a leader doesn't say that. And what a lot of men, to me, seemingly are subscribing to is just that. So these are the men that I talk about in my beta boy videos, because a lot of these men are complaining about women. And at the end of the day, they were poor leaders to these women. They did not build trust in these women for them to be their leaders. And that is the point. Like, I am not a feminist. I don't believe that a woman should rule the household. I don't believe that a woman should be an equal authority in the household. I believe that a woman is a complement to a man, just like the Bible prescribed. He created Eve. He said it is not good for the man to go along by himself. I'm going to create for him a complement, not some object that creates kids and stuff like that. She was in there with him. Okay, that's why she was created, to be a partner, to help him with all of the things that he needed to do. Read the Bible. Some of these men talking about, I'm a Christian and I'm a this. Christian men should not talk to their women like half of these Kevin Samuels followers see that it's appropriate to talk to women. Like, and that's the thing. How do you be a man's peace? Let me ask you something. Please explain to me, how do you be a man's peace, and how should a man be a woman's peace? Is it a responsibility of a man to be a woman's peace? I'm just curious. I'm not like throwing shade on you or anything like that. I just want to know, how does this woman give a man peace? What kind of peace is a man expecting for a woman to give him, and what kind of peace should he be giving her in return? I'm talking to one of the chats in there. If y'all But he said, be his peace and he will give you the world. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Because like I said, I don't believe that a woman should be combating her man. I don't believe that a man should not be able to make key decisions in the household in the best interest of the household without saying this decision is law, whether the woman agrees with it or not. That's happened before. You know what I mean? If there's proper justification and he understands it, and he's, like I said, he's a good leader, you know what? Even if a woman doesn't sit with the decision, she's going to respect it, follow it, and she's not going to give him a hard time with it. You know what I mean? But if you're a man that's built on making poor decisions for your household, that's when your woman's going to go to war with you. You know, that's the best way I can explain emotional and financial support for starters. So you're saying that the woman should be providing financial support to her husband, and she should be providing emotional support to her husband. And what in turn should he be providing her? Because I'm sorry, security, we got Brinks and we got Glocks now. We got Glocks. We got nines. We got Berettas now. So no, the man. Okay, the man should be providing emotional and financial support. Okay, what does the woman need to provide to be his peace? I want to understand that term, be a man's peace. That's what I'm trying to understand. How can we women be your peace? I want to understand that. Because I want my man peaceful. Last thing I want to do is cause drama in my man's life. You know what I mean? You know, if you want to go out with your boys hunting, great. I want to write my book. You know, I don't, you know, and like I said, that's the alpha female personality. We don't want to be around our men all the time. Like you said, less cooperative. Yeah, I understand. Like, I mean, and there are a lot of women that challenge their men, and that is disrespectful. But I find that a lot of those women do it because they don't respect their men's headship. Like these, yeah, combative. Yeah, there are a lot of women, and you know, it's funny because I have an alpha person, a female personality. It's a very strong personality. It's a personality full of convictions. But you'd be surprised to know that I'm an alpha that does not believe in combating my man. I don't believe in usurping the headship of my man. I only believe in working with him and being respected by him. And like I said, like my idea of the type of man that makes me comfortable doesn't even fit into the superficial ideas that most guys are buying into anywhere ways where, you know, I look at, you know, how men are evaluating themselves in certain discussions. And it's like, okay, you have to be this, once you're in this high value rank or whatever, then your woman becomes an option, right? So what woman would not start combating a man that believes that she's an option? You know what I mean? Like, because to me, when you start looking at your woman as an option, you start treating her as an option. And I don't think nobody should have to go through that. I mean, that's where that abuse and that disrespect comes in. You know, you think about Abraham and Sarah in the Bible. Abraham loved him some Sarah. Abraham loved him some Sarah. Sarah couldn't have kids though, so he had to get himself a concubine. And so he brought that concubine in, had that child, right? But what happened when that concubine started disrespecting his woman? Right? She got sent away real quick. Right? Because and to me that's, and Sarah called Abraham Lord. That's how much respect that woman had for her man. But she felt secure to have that level of respect for him, down to calling him Lord, because he secured her. A lot of men aren't secure in their women, and I hate to deviate from the topic of single mothers and dating, and I'm gonna wrap this up. But being single women can definitely make it in the dating world. I definitely, like I said, being an equitable woman, bringing value to a man, is one thing. Being able to understand where you have to relinquish maybe some of your parenting rights, in order for that person to be able to properly integrate in with your kid's life, especially when you're dealing with sons. You know what I mean? When you have a male that's willing to be that male influence in your son's life, the last thing you want to do is usurp that man's ability to help your son become a man. And even as with my son, like even when we're like one-on-one, like when like my dude doesn't live with us and we just trying to do things a little differently this time. But even with my son, when he's in the house full of women. We have concessions for him. Like my son gets served first. And I explained to my daughters why he has to be served first, because he's the man of the house. I talk to my son as if he's the man of the house. When he combats me for something that I don't like, I have to step back sometimes and just understand his feelings and it's a lot of people will disagree with my methods of with my son versus my daughters, but I I hate to say it in this sense, but I let my son have a level of authority, um, because he's around a bunch of women and he needs to feel like he's the lion. And even in his young age, he has to feel like he's a lion. And so he bosses his sisters around, his older sisters around, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I don't, like, they're like, don't talk to me like that. And I'm like, nope, leave him alone. Because I do believe in male authority, respectful male authority, though. And I think that a lot of single women can get that, they can, if they sort of relinquish that authority to the man that's helping them raise their son. I think that would make things better too. I've seen it too many times where single mothers continue to, this is my son, don't tell me how to raise my kids. And it's like, bitch, don't have me in your kid's life then. Because I want to be able to sprinkle my influence on these kids if I'm going to love them, take care of them, and have them a part of my life. And so I think a lot of single women need to be able to be open up about that. Part of the problem we have in the state is lack of culture and religion. That's true. I mean, you think about how society has sort of demoralized over the years. There's a lot of people who are having children out of wedlock. And, I challenge people, marry before you carry. And, here's the thing. It takes two people to create a child. Okay. And back in the old days when people were courting and they made the mistake of getting pregnant, they hurried up and got their asses married. Nowadays, you don't have to do that. We don't even foster that anymore. If you get pregnant, get married. A lot of men are walking away from responsibilities and leaving it on the women. So I feel like, marry before you carry, sure. Absolutely. That is the moral thing to do. But at the end of the day, it takes two to tangle. It takes two to create. And if you're in a relationship with a woman and y'all been in a relationship for like years, blah, 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 and y'all get pregnant and then you don't want to do that and you walk away from that or whatever, you're not an equitable man. You're an irresponsible person at that point, because you should not be planting your seeds all over the place. You think about how many men have their seeds planted all over the damn place. What is their excuse? Like, what is the excuse for a man to have several baby mamas? What is his excuse? Like, we just go, and here's the thing. Women, we may make poor decisions, but there's a variety of different reasons why a woman could be single. What if she lost a mate, for example? If a woman loses a mate, is that a legitimate reason for her to be single, for her to be deemed an equitable person to date for some of these men? Like, I just want people to think about things, broader. And I will tell single mothers, especially my Black women, some men will. There are a lot of single men out there that will. A lot of single men with no kids that will. They may not look like you. They may not look like you, but they will do, and they can still be fine. They can still be fine. They just, different melanin. So think about that too. But I wouldn't let a lot of discussion about men not wanting to date, especially these black men talking about it so hard, and half of them got kids themselves, but they talk about, I want to, why would I want, they talk about a man don't want a woman to raise another man's kids. It's like, shit, half of you men don't even want to raise your own kids. So let's be real about that too. So anywho, you all have a wonderful day. Single mothers, keep your head up, keep your confidence up, diversify your dating options. Consider those single dads, right? If they're drama free, baby mama drama free, consider those single dads. They're equitable. If you're dating a single man that doesn't have any kids, right? Just make sure that you allow him to be a part of your kid's life organically. That's really, really important. And be an equitable woman. Be an equitable woman. There go my homie back there, little homie. And that's what I'm saying. I couldn't date a dude that was not very adventurous, tree climbing, backwater, because that's the type of kid that I have. So I have to align myself with that kind of man. So I will tell you, ladies, be open to diversifying your dating options, because what a black man will not do for a single mother, there is a man in another race that will. And I don't think that we should keep our options closed, for the sake of meeting some standard of the black family. All right. There is no black family. Okay. There's only the family structure, and you can build your happiness and your family structure however you see fit. So, and if that is going outside of the grain, leaving these black men and talk about single mothers like we are worthless and we're not valuable, leave them alone. Leave them alone and start talking to some of these, other men that would possibly appreciate you and are willing to take on the role of being a man in your life and your kid's life. And like I said, them engineers, they're cool. And I think it was cool for me too, is because I met my guy in college, and so that was the guy that had the crush on me in college, and I wasn't checking for him, made all kinds of bad relationship moves in between, and then linked back up later on in life with 2 more kids. I have 3 kids. And he's all with it. He has no problems. And that's just because I take care of myself. I take care of my kids. I don't look for him to do anything for us. And in fact, he understands that his biggest value to me and my household really is the interaction with my son. So that's that, people. I hope you all enjoyed this discussion. Thank you so much, my friend, for joining in and giving me your insights. I would love to have you. Next time I'm going to start linking to the show so it can actually bring people in. But thank you so much for engaging with me and providing my insights, providing your insights and commentary on mine. Again, I'm not a man basher. I believe that a man should lead in a household. I just believe that a man should be a worthy leader.